Hi, welcome to Papa's Workshop. Today I'm making a major upgrade to my knife sharpening abilities. I'm taking my old plywood 6-inch wheel that I made a number of years ago, and quite frankly, it's done good. But this one does great. It's made out of 3/4 inch MDF, and I want to show you how I made it today. Let's get started. For years now, I have been using this 1/2-inch piece of plywood, which was 6 inches in diameter, to be able to sharpen my knives. And it worked quite well. Got to admit, it did sharpen them good. But it was actually a little bit smaller than the housing on the grinder itself, and that made it a little bit difficult to be able to grind the longer knives. So what I decided to do, since I had quite a bit of MDF in the shop, is go ahead and take and make a 8-inch diameter, 3/4 inch MDF wheel. And the nice thing about it is this MDF sharpens the blades even faster and better than this plywood one that I've been using for a number of years. So it was a great addition. So I want to be able to show you how I cut this disc with minimum effort to be able to get it set up, and it doesn't take long to do. The most important thing, you have to make sure that you sharpen it where that knife blade will not dig in to the wood itself. That would be extremely dangerous. So when you're doing this, please exercise caution in sharpening the knives. Your safety is extremely important, and I don't want to see anybody hurt. So make sure that you do that, or that blade will not dig into the disc at all. This is one of the pieces of the MDF that I have. Then I just took and measured it, and it's 10 inches wide. So I just went ahead and marked 10 inches again, and that way it would be a square cut. And then the next thing, I just went ahead and using the cross-cut sled, just cut it on the table saw. Nothing fancy here at all. Now using a straight edge, and actually this is a T-square, I just went ahead and marked from corner to corner so I could mark the center point of this square MDF. And this is going to be my XY 0 point for my CNC machine. The next thing I did, I just went ahead and set it up on the CNC machine using the bump stops. And I decided not to cut all the way through. This is 3/4 inch material, and I'm actually going to carve it down to 0.71 of an inch. So it will leave just a little tiny bit. I really don't like cutting into the waste board. Now I realize that's a personal preference. Some people will just go ahead and cut it all the way through, and that's okay. That's what a waste board is actually made for. Now I could have just went ahead and put a sacrificial board underneath this and carved it all the way through. So that would have been another option. But for this one, I just go ahead and cut it at 0.71 inch deep, and then I'm just going to take it over to the bandsaw and finish it up. Not a big deal for this particular project. To set up this carve, all I'm going to do is just open up another workpiece, because I have a file set up for all of my adapters and things and my knobs all in one file. So this fits right into that. So what I'm going to do, I want to have an 8-inch circle. So I'm going to go ahead and set that up to begin with. We're going to go up here to shape, click on lock, put that at 8 inches. And that will create my 8-inch circle. The next thing to do is to go over to the cut section, and we want to cut this on an outline, and I want to cut this on the outside. That will make sure that I stay with my 8-inch diameter that I'm looking for. The next thing is I want to be able to use the center as my XY 0 point. So I'm going to go back over to shape, select my center point, and then I want this on the x-axis to be 0 as well as my y-axis. and that moves it right down into the center. So if I zoom out, you'll be able to see that. And then the last thing that I want to do is I need a 1/2 inch hole in the center. So all I need to be able to do is get another circle, and I need to set this circle up right here again for a 1/2 inch. So I lock this, I set my width at 0.5, and that creates my 1/2 inch circle. Now this time on the cut, I still want to do the outline, but I want to cut it on the inside. Now quite frankly, the majority of that's going to go, because I'm using, really all of it's going to go cut away because I'm using a 1/4 inch bit. But that still will cut on the inside and give me a nice 1/2 inch hole. Then the same thing, I want to be able to set it up on the center. So I have my center point here. So then on my x-axis will be 0 and my y-axis 0. So now I'm actually ready to cut and begin my carving. Now on this I have 3/4 inch material. I don't want to cut all the way through because I really don't want to go into the wasteboard, and I don't want to use the tabs. So what I'm going to do is set this up where my board is actually set for the 7.75 inch. But as far as my depth of cut, I'm just going to cut down to 0.71. And then I'll finish it up on the bandsaw and with a little bit of sandpaper after that, and I'm good to go. So there's everything ready to carve. Let's go over, set it up on the machine, and get this carved. On the CNC machine itself, I actually have everything really ready to go. I've got my 1/4 inch bit into the machine, and I have my board already clamped down. I have my center point marked here. This is a 10 by 10 board. I'm only cutting 8 by 8. So that makes it where it's going to be real easy to be able to center it. It doesn't have to be perfectly centered. So what I'm going to do is just move the machine over right now to that center point. And that's actually quite close. I don't need to be any closer than that. So now I'll go ahead and complete the checklist, because I'm going to confirm the thickness. I know it's 0.75 thick. Material is secure, and I have my 1/4 inch straight bit in the machine, and we are going to use the probe. That is set. So I do have the position confirmed. The clip is attached. This verifies that I do have contact, and then I can start probing. Okay, the next thing it always asks is that you put the probe away, which it does, and then set the XY axis to 0. And we've already done that, so it's done. So I don't have to do anything else to that except just hit the OK. And then I can turn the spindle on, and it's ready to carve. Now as it begins to carve, you can see that this 1/2 inch hole is being cut completely away. And that's what I had said earlier. With the 1/4 inch bit and a 1/2 inch hole, there's not going to be any material inside left. So I am using a vacuum cleaner to be able to keep the MDF dust down to the minimum, because it does kick out a lot of dust. But as you can see, once that hole is finished, it immediately moves over and starts cutting the diameter of my 8-inch circle. And it will make several passes to be able to accomplish this. Now as far as the rate of my cut, I'm The default was 30 inches and I moved it to 60 inches per minute. Now we're to the very boring part where we watch the CNC machine just go around in a circle, and I'm not going to bore you with that. Okay, the project's all finished, but what I want to be able to do now is just move the CNC machine out of the way. So I'm just going to hit carve, and I don't have any bump stops in the way, so I'm just going to move this out of the way so that I can get to it. And then I can cancel that, and then I can go ahead and remove this from the work table. Now all I got to do is just take that over to the bandsaw, and I could went ahead and cut it all the way out. I just chose not to. Now that it's off of the bandsaw, you can see it's just a tiny little bit of cleanup that I have to be able to do, and that's it. So I'm just going to take that over now and go ahead and put it onto the grinder, and we'll clean that little bit of edge up on the grinder. Now this 6-inch disc that I have been using is just made out of 1/2-inch plywood, and it has done a very good job. And that's the main reason that I haven't ever taken the time to change it, because it did do such a good job. But the new disc, the 8-inch disc, made out of the MDF, is going to be far superior. So I want to go ahead and put that one on now. It's a nice snug fit, and that's what I wanted, so I'm glad of that. The good thing is this does not have to be real tight. That's all you need. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and clean up this edge, and we'll be ready to sharpen some knives. Now I went ahead and turned it on just to see how the balance was, and it's really balanced perfectly. And that's one of the nice things about being able to cut this on the CNC machine. Now since there's such a small amount of cleanup that I need to do, the belt sander is the perfect tool for this. So I can just turn the grinder on, use the belt sander, and sand this smooth, and it only takes just a few seconds to be able to clean this up and make it perfectly smooth. Now, when sharpening the knives, it's very, very important to understand the rotation of this. This wheel is turning in this direction. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to sketch a little arrow. That's the direction that it's turning. The reason that's important is that you want the knife blade to be resting this way. You never ever want to have it where the blade of this knife can grab and dig into the wood. So please, please remember that. So we're going to set this up at about this angle and be able to sharpen this, and this will get razor sharp in a matter of just seconds. Now I'm actually sharpening this knife in real time. I haven't edited anything out, and I haven't speeded up the video. So this is real time sharpening a knife, and I'll do one side first, then I'll flip it over and sharpen the other side. And again, this is just a matter of a few seconds to be able to get this knife sharp. I don't know any other way to do it faster than this. So after a few seconds, this knife is razor sharp. Now I'm using my arm to cut the hair off of it, because one, I've got plenty of hair, and two, I don't like doing the demonstration with the paper because all it does is just dull the knife again. but you can see that it's cutting the hair right off my arm without any difficulty at all. Now this wheel is turning in this direction, and I put a little arrow there so that you can see it. And a lot of time when people sharpen different tools, they're on the front side and they're putting the tool up this way. Do not do that. That's extremely dangerous. And what happens, that blade will dig into this MDF and be a serious, serious accident. So what you have to be able to do is be able to sharpen the knife on the back side. And that way, as this wheel turns, is sharpening it in this direction, and the blade of the knife cannot dig into the wood. So please remember that and make sure that you know exactly which way that this wheel is turning and plan out your sharpening before you start. Please be safe when sharpening the knives. Hi everyone, thank you for watching my video today. If you like the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below and the little bell next to it so you'll be notified on the different videos that I upload. Also check out the videos over here to be able to stay up to date on the happenings in my shop. So again, thank you for watching my videos.